All right, everyone. If I set all that up correctly, we should be good to go. I'll wait for a confirmation in the chat, but I see. What's that doing? Let's mute that. There we go. And let's close that. Sometimes that's a nightmare. Quit. Okay, guys, can everyone hear me? Is everything working all right? Go to my own stream on my other computer here just to see. For any Mac nerds out there, they added this new feature where if you just put either an iPad or a Mac like next to it, and that works, yeah. It just works, right? So it's like I can just move my mouse from this Mac over to that Mac, and it just, my mouse and keyboard works. And I can drag files back and forth. Anyway, it's enough nerd note. So, again, if anyone is new here, what we do is we take usually the weekend, usually on Sunday evenings, I think I'm going to do, and we just shoot the shit about the markets. We go over crypto, we go over Forex, we go over stocks, basically everything that I trade. Talk about what's going on in the market, what's looking good, what's not so much. Try to figure out what it is that we're going to do going into next week. Build a watch list, change the watch list. As always, this is a nice little preview for what I do over at Stats Edge Trading Pro, which you can find that and access to the trading tools you're going to see me use in the description below. So this is kind of what I do every night, except you don't have to watch me ramble for an hour. I just kind of put everything into a nice, neat little blog post. We got a trading room, access to my scans, nighttime or a monthly Q&A where it's just kind of whatever they want to ask. Sometimes we go for hours, like I think 3 hours is our record. So that's actually tomorrow night. So if there's anyone here from the pro membership, and if you haven't gotten your email or anything, let me know, because we'll be doing that tomorrow, I think 30 minutes after the market closes. I apologize, it was scheduled for last week, but we had to bump that back. So without further ado, I see, hey, Brett, how's it going? How's it going? Let's just get into it. Let's just go into the markets. Let's see what's going on here. So let's pull this out a little bit like that. That fills the shot right. There we go. But as always, I like to start with crypto because I'm a creature of boring habit. So I want to do all of the same things the same way. So we'll go Bitcoin, US dollar. And let's just get started. Let's get started there. Pretty crazy day today. I got to remove, I guess, the yawning faces. Actually, I just remove this whole note. So again, you'll see me take a lot of screenshots. You'll see me kind of copy and paste a lot of things over. And that's, again, because I build this blog post that the pro members get every day, and it just has all of these charts kind of annotated up with my thoughts, and then just a quick like sentence or two at the bottom of what I think overall. But you know, this area here on Bitcoin is something we've been watching for a very long time, this 30,000. To be honest, I'm kind of shocked that we're bouncing from that level. We had this bleed under that I was kind of questioning, maybe this was a bear trap. You know, anything can happen. That's just the way the market works. But generally speaking, when I see a kind of a sell-off like that and then a base sideways for a period of time, you know, it's usually just working off, you know, an oversold condition. And then the next move is in the continuation of the trend, right? That's just technical analysis 101. If you have a consolidation, it usually resolves in the continuation or in the direction of the overall trend. Doesn't mean it has to. So what I think we need to do now is we need to just hold the top of this base, right? We still have obviously a lot overhead here. Like that's a lot of resistance that we're just coming up into. So, it'll be interesting to see if we get to this prior support that may act as resistance. Do we turn back over? So for me, I really need to see, kind of a reclaim of this 37,000 area or a breakdown here. Here we're kind of in no man's land. So if you're going to trade Bitcoin, for me, it's got to be, you can go to a lower time frame. It's a great kind of trading scalping vehicle, but I just don't really see it as, a solid long or a short right now. Again, just because we've got this whole area of congestion, right? A lot of bag holders, right? We got cut in half, but, doesn't mean, right, it can't do exactly what it did here last time. I will be more interested kind of in this area just because you get the first move and then the pullback, right? I always want to see that higher low before I get involved. I'll rarely, should probably say never, get involved as something's going down. I want to see either a U bottom or if we're going to V bottom, then a higher low to get involved in, right? Just to prove that the market is on my side first. So far, nice little bounce. If we kind of zoom in, you can see this actually happened fairly quickly. A day candle is actually a pretty long period of time when you're talking to crypto because, when you're in stocks, a day candle's 6.5 hours. In crypto, it's 24 hours. So you kind of have to take that, and JC from All Star brings it up and basically says a day in crypto world is kind of like a week in stock worlds. So, that's why I zoom in a lot on this, even though I look mainly at the daily chart, right? And just see we had a pretty big spike here and then we had a spike here. So on the shorter term chart, you just need to see, are we going to hold this 30,000? We've only been above it for a little bit. So maybe a retest to 30,000 and then go. If you want to play on the shorter term time frame, that would be something to take a look at. But for me, right, my note is just going to be to the tune of entering no man's land. Let's see, higher low or over, say 40K. And again, that's just for me. All right, that's the way I kind of see it. My time frame, all of that. Again, there's probably some good action to be done in there. So now we go through this crypto list. Wave is up 70%. This thing is pretty wild. I don't think I got any of it in through here, but I was watching it anyway. And then crash back up. So I'm not interested in that one. Helium actually up 30% today. So we are getting a wild move in some of these alts as well. Axes. So for me, again, I'm looking at, oh yeah, let's all go in on Luna. Or we can all go in on Luna too. Yeah, they're all, so I left a lot of these lines up. That's on a good example. What was it? ADA. Right, so this was the giant area of support and resistance on a lot of these names before, and I just left that highlighted in. So as I'm scanning through these, you'll see me click through them incredibly quickly because the way I'm looking at it is if we don't retake this, then we're just coming up to resistance to bounce our head. So I would be more interested to see if these things are going to come up there. Again, depending on what Kraken lets me short, if I can short it, then that's something that I will keep an eye in because, again, I just trade. So Kava is going to go on the short list. I'm not going to mention it today, but again, you see I've got that main support and resistance area highlighted, and it looks like we're coming up to test it. So then if we can get and clear and hold above that, the next area up here I see is 6. So from 3 to 6, I'll definitely take that. So I love trading crypto for a bunch of reasons, but one of them is just the volatility of it. It means I can deploy so little capital to potentially get a decent return. You see, like a lot of these, they're trading still below these areas that I set. So Doesn't mean I won't take them before that area, but to do that, I need to see the higher low. Right, same. Everything's got kind of the same picture. And I won't even look at anything that's not up today. Right, if Bitcoin's up, what, 8% or something today, 7-8%, and the crypto you're currently looking at can't get off the mat, then it's might be time to reassess that. Right? For me, as a relative strength trader, I want to see the stuff that's, it's outperforming. I don't really want to get involved in anything that's underperforming. If you guys can hear that wind outside or that gets obnoxious, let me know. Sealing myself in this room. Oh, for the people in the room, you can actually see that thing that I showed in the shop behind me. I don't think it's rain yet, but if you know that, then it's probably time to close the window a bit. No, I just gotta peek into my world a bit. So that's my backyard. So I've got a few acres of land, and behind me there is trees. So there's this giant tree right outside this window that personally I love the sound of it, but I know that kind of stuff can get obnoxious in mics. It's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain any time now. And oh yeah, I guess you can see that's the latest edition. That's my outdoor office. I'll post some pictures on Twitter in the room. I got a gazebo with a bug net and like a full-on couch sectional thing in there. So I'll be grabbing my laptop and going out there until it's hammock time. So TRX in crypto is something I'm actually in right now. From I think around here. It's so choppy. I have no idea what this thing does. But it's either really low volume or really low volatility. And the main reason was that when Bitcoin was holding at the lower end of that range, this was actually breaking out a little bit here. So a very simple, oh no, that's rain now. I just felt it. It's at that, so it's very good on the relative strength scale. So, I may add if we kind of clear this area here, but I may actually want to look to see what this does, because look at the wicks on it. Obviously small, right? Everything here is small, right? Just because I'm in it, I think like near 8, 7.8, 7.9, and I'm risking down to like 5.8, 5.9. So on a percentage basis, that's pretty gnarly. So, right, you just shrink your size and you compensate that way. Yeah, so anything that's down, okay, so there's only, so PAX G is gold, which it's a gold crypto. It's actually a really interesting use of cryptocurrency. I love stuff like this. I'm actually trading gold. That's why I keep looking up here. I'm not doing well trading gold, but I'm down a little bit on my gold position, but I just realized that my Forex prop firm will allow me to trade gold, so I put on a little trade there. So really nothing else to see, nothing that I saw. Oh, got that mute button fast enough. Again, I like to summarize each section before I move on. So when it comes to Bitcoin, again, just a lot overhead. I need to see what happens with this area before I get too excited. Obviously bullish that this supports holding. I'm just very skeptical of, like, there's actually an old saying in trading that triple bottoms don't exist. Obviously they do, but they are certainly rare. So until we can get going from here, I'm just not super interested about it. So on to the real currencies. We'll start. I always start with UUP. That wouldn't have been open since Friday, right? So it's just kind of chopping around here as well. This dollar pullback, I think, would be bullish for equities, just because, if you take this and you overlay the SPY, I think I can go Price compare. Just in case you guys didn't know, you can do this because I didn't know, so I'm doing this a lot more. Line. Where it will say, okay, this is the price. So you can line up the price of whatever you want with whatever you want. And you can see as we kind of really started to run here on the US dollar, you can see the sell-off that occurred in the overall SPY. Right, as we kind of chopped sideways here and pulled back, that was that last relief rally. And as we're pulling back in the dollar, we will pull back. We're bouncing here again. So definitely kind of a little bit of an inverse relationship in dollar and SPY right now. So keep an eye on that. Yeah. If you got a Twitter, tweet at them. Told them I show you that. I didn't know about it either. Apparently, compare charts are on the horizon. I know for a fact compare charts are on the horizon for trade ideas because I'm actually helping them. That's, full disclosure. There we go. I consult with trade ideas. So again, links in the description below. TrendSpider, trade ideas, and StatsEdge Pro. All of those obviously financially benefit me. But yeah, so all of the different compare chart types are coming to trade ideas where you're going to be able to put on the same screen a bunch of different symbols. You're going to be able to do that where you put the other symbol in the bottom, and you're going to be able to which really is no different from, trade ideas, just stacking two symbols like that. And then, you'll also be able to just divide one symbol by the other in trade ideas fairly soon. The first of those three is coming really, really soon. I think they're actually going to have a testing for me next week. I'm getting them to do all the CMT shit. Aussie yen, right? I've been calling this out. If anyone's been following even the live stream, if you've been StatsEdge Pro, you definitely see this. I got involved in this Friday. Yeah. So I actually took it as a day trade on Friday as well, and sold half on the day trade and then just held it. And that's how I'm taking my swing trade. And a pretty big pop yesterday because it was set up as a day trade. It's a pretty big position. Basically, I was able to take it on a lower time frame chart, so I took it fairly large. I took it kind of right in here with a stop, I think, right here. I was doing it off an anchored VWAP. Yeah, so when it broke this anchored VWAP, that's where I got involved, and my stop was, I think, right here. So I was able to get a pretty big position on this one, and it's given me no reason to get out. I'm just kind of trailing a stop on some and then keeping some as well. So that's been awesome. So it'll be interesting to see if this develops because it's such a large position. If this bull flag actually breaks out, then it might be one of my biggest so far this year from just an overall trade, which is awesome. So the other components of that, right, means Aussie is popping. It's over this anchored VWAP, but it still has this rounded top kind of look. You can see these trend line breaks before were both really profitable. So I guess I'd be amiss just not drawing one of these and seeing if that's going to occur again. Because so far they've been great. So I guess my note will just be... to the well. If I sound like I'm stuttering and dumb, I apologize. We're still battling with old poor Charlie. We've got a allergy test set up tomorrow. It's just been a lot, but I took a lot of caffeine today, so I should be okay. Euro US dollar and pound US dollar are both putting in these kind of relief bounces as UUP, the over dollar, the overall dollar is pulling back. So for euro dollar, I'm kind of watching this downtrend. Actually, let me do again. If you don't know within TrendSpider, I can just right click, boom, boom, boom. I can say on a 30-minute chart, I want it to alert me, and I'll just put a short euro. So the beauty of this as a Apple nerd, as soon as I click that, if we get up to this area in on the euro, if we hit this trend line or this anchored VWAP line, it will hit my watch. It will do a pop-up notification on my computer. It will send me an email. It will send me a text message, right? Jake will drive to my house and slap me. It will like really, it will really, really let me know. So when it comes to trading Bitcoin and it comes to trading Forex, which just trade all the time, it's great because, you know, I'll just be minding my own business and I'll vibrate it. And I trade through MT5 with my Forex prop firm. So I can just open up my phone, hit a button, take the trade. So they also have a phone app as well. Good conversation. I forgot to mention, but I always do. The reason I do these live as opposed to just doing a video like I do on Wednesday. If anyone's new to this channel, on Wednesday every single week, I do a midweek wrap up for like a 10-minute video. I do these live on purpose. As life as a new dad starts to chill out a bit, there's going to be more videos. I'll put Jess to work editing and that kind of thing. So turning a day trade into a swing trade was an option in the plan trade. So what I did is at the end of the day trade, I generally don't have any rules for closing trades on Fridays with crypto. I'm not as scared as gaps as most people. But what I did is I just sold half. That's my plan. Says if in doubt, sell half. You know. Am I affiliated with TrendSpider? I do have an affiliate link in the description below. I don't with trade ideas. I consult with them. I work with them. I do a lot of presentations and everything with them. I am a consultant with TrendSpider. I just have the affiliate. If you use the link in the description below, they will send me a commission. And I am always very upfront about that. So Trade Ideas is my equity trading platform. It's what I do for scanning and alerting and auto trading and all that with equities. TrendSpider I use for the mobile applications. I use it for any mobile alerting that I want to do. I use it for crypto and FX because Trade Ideas doesn't have access to those securities, and I trade them all. Give me a chart and I'll trade it. I was joking in the room, half joking, about I found a website that will actually chart NFTs. Maybe I'll start trading NFTs. Who knows? You had me at Apple Nerd. Oh, man. So Mac Mini, which I think will soon be upgraded to a studio. MacBook Air that I think is going to be upgraded because I think they're coming out with a new MacBook Air. Rumor has it in WWDC in a week or so. iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, Apple TV, HomePod, the big one they don't sell anymore. Just all of it. I am so lazy that I just need everything to just communicate without me thinking. Aussie Dollar has already popped up to that anchored VWAP from that last recent high. Struggling a little bit. But, you know, it's too high yet. I'll be interested to see if it kind of smacks into this 67-cent area. Just because this was, if we go back a bit, you can see this was a major area. Might be an area for me to take a little bit of a short. See if we come back down on that one. Aussie CAD or US CAD, right? Just flip the Aussie dollar chart, and it's usually what this looks like. Yen, dollar yen. Again, just getting tight here. It's going to be interesting. It's if it follows Aussie yen. And then this is just, again, this is gold, right? So this is just I put this here because that's just the symbol for gold when in this particular MT5 platform. So Forex, really nothing to say here, right? Aussie dollar's doing well. The only thing I think I was watching is I've got that euro alert, but that's a little bit far away. And Aussie dollar, if that reverses, I'll take a look at that. But so far, that's really strong as well. So really nothing to see there. Now into stocks. So let's hit the SPY first. And this is kind of I think the crux of it, the meat. I wonder if I should lead with this because it's probably what most people care about. So decent rally. Last few days, pretty substantial rally. We've been talking for a very long time about this anchored VWAP here from the COVID lows. You can see it acted as support right here, and then again, support right here. So it continues to act as that. I'm telling everybody to calm the hell down. And the main reason for that is, I wonder if I can find the chart that I tweeted out. But essentially, everyone's like super excited about this 10% bounce. Oh, I just going through my Twitter here to find that. I watched the Carl Icahn documentary. There it is. Copy photo. It's really good. I was there for a lot of it. I started like knowing who Carl Icahn was at the whole fight with Bill Ackman over Herbalife, and really didn't pay much attention to him before then. It's really interesting, and they go a cool way with the documentary where they go, okay, is this guy an evil corporate raider, or is he a kind of revolutionary? You know what I mean? Power to the corporate shareholders. So this tweet is actually what I'm going to put in the Stats Edge Trading thing. Actually, let me do that now before I forget. There it goes. Where'd that go? Yeah, so it was a really good. Yeah, I need to watch it. It was good. It was good. In my opinion, he kind of seems like he's a capitalist. He's a trader, right? Watch it on the weekend too. Well worth a watch. Yeah. I need to see the George Carlin documentary, and I need to see the Norm Macdonald thing that came out on Netflix. But talking trading, it was just really cool. It was, nice little, well done, a nice little look. But yeah, what I'm watching here on the SPY, and this is why I'm kind of telling everyone to calm the hell down, is right. We had that 10% bounce that just sold off and made a new low. And then we had that 10% bounce, which sold off and made a new low. And now we're getting, if we hit right here, I measured it out, that would be 10%, right? Basically 40 points from here to here. So roughly 10%. So don't get too excited. And then again, as prior resistance kind of acting as, or prior support possibly acting as resistance, we got some issues there as well. So again, like I was talking about with Bitcoin, for me to get interested, one of two things got to occur. So first of all, anchored VWAP from this swing high, we need to retake that. That's coming, right? And I'm going to put that in the thing too. So that's coming. That might be problematic right there. The other thing that we've got to look at is, again, these lows. So call it 420. So we've got a lot overhead right here. So two things, either we pull back and we make a higher low, and then I'm interested, or we break this area and then kind of chill out for a bit, and then we go. And if we ripped all-time highs, I just miss it. But I think I'm actually going to do this just so I get this. Right, because we need to do... I've also bugged Trade Ideas to improve their drawing tools, because that's another reason I like to use Trend Spiders. Their drawing tools are archaic. A VWAP from last high. And then this 420 area kind of in here. just put prior support and then overhead. Jeez. All right, so we got this anchored view app from the last high. And then we've got the prior support right here. And then we've got a lot overhead. So, you know, could we just rip from here? I would doubt that we're just going to rocket to all-time highs. I'd say if you're buying right here, you're probably late to the game, but to each their own. Let's just go through my ETF watcher. So XLU, right? Let's just bring this up. XLU, again, the drawing tools are way better. So this has been kind of the trade of the week. This is where we've been focused. We've got some names in through here. We had this prior support zone that we were talking about here. And then anchored view app from this high, anchored view from that low, just kind of made this zone right out overhead. When we broke that, we just kind of exploded. So we've had some names. Oops, I don't even know how I did that. All right, so AEP, sadly kind of underperforming, but we were watching that in that area. So really that's generally not super bullish for the market when you see ETF. It's not generally what you want to see, right? Utilities, I gotta open that. I've got this place so sealed up, I'm gonna sweat. I don't think it's as windy as it was. So yeah, we've got, it's a great day there. But it's just not really what you want to see when you see these things kind of bounce. Block, which is just our internet kind of thing. ARC finally breaking out this level. Technically, I guess you could consider this a higher low. So maybe we're going to do something there. Who knows? I'm not going to be the one bottom fishing that. If you're right on a lot of these ARC names, you're going to get a hell of a move, right? If you're right. Burke, right? I had this note in here, the Buffett bounce, question mark. Looks like that's what's going to happen. You don't see its utilities taking this thought. No, I don't think they're going to be the thing that recovers the whole market. Go back here. Again, I just like this scanning from this better. They just got to fix their frickin' drawing tools. So consumer discretionary, equal weight, had an interesting bounce here. So what this is just a index equal weight, just meaning that it's split evenly across all the different securities. Consumer discretionary, again, I know most of you guys know this, but I just like to explain it for anyone who's new or stumbled across this video. Basically, just think of shit that people buy that they don't need. Harley Davidson is usually a pretty good consumer discretionary example, right? No one needs a hog, right? Things like we were just joking about utilities, about consumer staples, about a lot of these names. This is shit people need. So, it's not, that's why it's not bullish generally when you see these things go, because it's like, okay, well, people need to buy this anyway. So it's generally a flight to safety. I kind of hate that terminology when it comes to these things, because it's like, okay, well, you need them anyway. So we're going to sink our money in that. Looks like we are bouncing just shy of this kind of support level here I drew in ARC. So maybe, again, it's one of those things that if you nail it, right, ARC could get back to 80 and still be an absolute awful, god-awful stock, right? It could get all the way up to almost a double and be a god-awful stock. For me, it's just not enough. It hasn't based enough. It didn't put in enough of a higher low. You know, I am not totally opposed to bottom fishing. I just won't falling knife catch. So XLB recovering. I did want to point out in XLB, which is materials, this kind of bull flag on the weekly that's going on. It's holding this support. Amazing. Material sector. Right? Holding that. Another thing I'm catching up on is Billions. I completely missed that there was a new season out. I don't know, is that the last season? So far it's good. I like the new guy. I shouldn't spoil anything in case people haven't been catching up, but that's a good one for us nerds. I could do a whole movie list. I could probably, maybe not anymore, but back in my younger days, I could probably recite all of Boiler Room, like the whole movie. Back when I thought that was the thing, right? You're a young stupid kid, and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. You need to watch. Oh, Billions. Yeah, it's good. It's one of those things that I think I could have convinced the wife to watch with me. It's enough of a. Oh, that's interesting, Kane. It's different. It's enough of a kind of like House of Cards, thriller-ish thing that I think non-market nerds could probably get a kick out of it. But it'd be one of those things that you'd like pause. Like in the last episode I watched, again, no spoilers, they were just talking about SPACs. And I'd be like, okay, this is the reason that. And they had a guy in there that was like supposed to be Dave Portnoy. And I think she was feeding the baby or something. She was watching it and she was like, what the hell's this guy blowing his horn and throwing his hamburgers and stuff on the ground? And I'm like, oh, that's referencing this guy. And she was enough with the meme stock thing when it was going crazy. She's like, oh, so there's some references she'd get, right? Kane, so Sugar might be breaking out. So what would you, I don't know, what trade would you make with that? Short Pepsi? They don't even use sugar, do they? They use like that no fructose corn syrup stuff. I don't think there's anything else I really wanted to look at. Yeah, see, MDY, IWM's the same way. They're all, ooh, that's something to point out. All right, so we were talking about this AVWAP from COVID low on, so this question mark, and it still is relatively weak. So that's the small caps. You can see the AVWAP from COVID lows, and then they pop down from here, and then it may be overhead resistance there as well. If you're short ARK, you're shorting innovation. I saw one. You couldn't pay me to watch any of these people's interviews. Like, again, anyone in the room will know. I'm very this is what I do. I come in every day and I do that and I block everything else out. But I do love going to like Wall Street bets and stuff just for the memes. And I follow a couple of meme accounts on Twitter because I think they're funny. But she was on CNBC once, and they had in that little like segment above her, they had ARK and ARK's daily performance and year-to-date performance, and right under that they had SARK, which is the short ARK, and I thought it was hilarious. It was like the editor was trolling. How come you say short when Sugar's breaking out? Well, right, so that's how I always think about it. I say, okay, if Sugar's going to break out, what will that affect? That was kind of a joke. And then, right, followed up with the joke of short Twinkies. But it's kind of, I don't, personally, I don't trade these ETFs. Not that there's anything wrong with it. If you want to trade the ETFs, then trade the ETFs. But for me, it's kind of okay. What what playground am I playing in, right? So if sugar's breaking out, then what do I do, right? If utilities are breaking out, then I know when I'm running my scans, if I see utility names, which are easy to spot, anything that says oil or anything that says, power generation or, something like that, I know that those are probably going to move with this. But so it was just kind of an offhanded comment of, I noticed that the sugar ETF it's putting in a little bull flag and maybe it's going to break out. I just don't know what I would do with that, right? So that's why the jokes of short Pepsi and short Twink, because if the cost of sugar is going to go up, then maybe some of these names are going to pull back. But again, I don't even think Pepsi uses sugar, it uses junk instead. All right. So, again, just to summarize, I think this IWM chart's actually good. Again, I like to summarize before we go to each next thing, but I think this IWM does a great job of it. This anchored VWAP is huge, right? If you just look at all of this overhead resistance right here, that's going to be problematic. We've got a lot. We got a lot to go. And then if we get through this prior support, then we've got this prior support, right? So we just have, in all of our indices, we have so much overhead. I know people got, and I'm usually like the calming force on both ends when we were selling off. I'm always like, okay, look at this level, look at this level, look at this level. When we're blowing up, I'm always like, okay, look at this level, look at this level, look at this level, right? So it's just one of those that I just don't. If we are going to break it, we've got a hard road to go. So that's why I go through all these ETFs individually, right? I got to say, okay, well, what am I actually going to look at? What's got like the most chance of actually going? And so I'm going to look at the ETFs that are trading stronger as a relative strength trader. That's kind of the way I look at it, right? I always give a lot of thoughts on the coin. Yeah. Well, you should, right? Again, I treat trading a lot like kind of the scientific method, where if I have a theory, I'm instantly trying to disprove that theory. And if I can't disprove that theory, then it's probably more correct than if I just kind of shoot from the hip with it, right? So now's the part where if anyone has any chart requests, we'll go through that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go through, and this is the list as of Friday. I'm going to see what I'm going to cut, what I'm going to keep. And then from here, we'll look at what I'm going to add, right? We'll just start running through our scans. We're going to see what we're going to add. This parts, it's a great look on this one. I can't remember. It's just, an hour of sleep a night is not enough to keep this brain going. I think I'm in, and I think I'm in from about break even. Yeah, I'm just looking here. Yeah. So not up or down much. One thing that I liked about it, I don't know if I put this in the thing, but we got like a 15% short float. So the idea with parts is we had this big pop up because of earnings. came back, and then we've been basing. So as we break out, my theory is, maybe the fundamental people are going to get involved. And again, just a big short, right? But that has to go from the list, 'cause I don't know if I'd be super interested on buying it here. GDYN, I got some of that, but that can't stay on the list. And I move these over to, I got to do a better job of upkeeping this list. But I have this list called holdings that it's not my holdings, but it's just stuff I want to keep an eye on. UNM in that one as well. That's no good though. Are we just gonna clear out this whole list? Because again, part of the Stats Edge Pro thing is I just share my list of what I'm watching, and again with annotated and all this kind of stuff. Not a signal service. Don't believe in signal services. If you want a signal service, this is not the place for you. I don't believe in them. I believe in education and stuff like that. TWD, yeah, I figured this was going to happen. Everything was kind of breaking out. And we'll keep that. So we have CF and VTNR is all we have on the list right now. Oops. So that's what we got on the list. So we're going to go to trade ideas. We're going to start scanning. We're going to try to find stuff to add. We got a lot of room. Again, I cap my list at 15, and that's basically just because I've noticed I just have to pick a level. Not that 15's magic, but if I have 50 things on my list, then the odds of me missing something increase kind of exponentially. So I always kind of keep a tight lip on it. ACLS. Industrial machineries. Did we look at XLI, or did it just not stand out? No, it didn't stand out. So that's going to move with that, which doesn't look the best. It's interesting. It's breaking out of this little base. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That base is also the high of this earnings day right here. So the fundamental people might get involved. It's one of those things that I would have need to see it in here in order to get it right there. So I'm not interested in it now, but I see the idea behind it. I don't see any problem there. So this particular scan, there's only a few on it. Oh, there's only one on it. He's looking for a Bollinger Band squeeze, which I can show you guys. But basically, the Bollinger Bands are a standard deviation thing. I'm not an indicator guy. But it's basically just showing stuff that is really, really tight. Only one on it, so nothing to see there. Pull flag. They're going to clean up this interface soon. Thank God. It's a bit messy now to try to keep track of everything that's going on. All right, that one. Oh, I gotta change. They're gonna fix that too. Going through here. GME and AMC. Yeah. Should I put a trigger warning before that? That's an interesting look right there. That's interesting. Also just looking for new. That's why I'm looking over here, looking for new music. Chill synthwave lo-fi. Why not? All right, let's do that will stay there. GME, right? If we look out on this thing, conspiracy theories and weird rhetoric aside, And I can get into my rant about how I think the GME people are getting hosed by hedge funds. But every time this thing pops, there's lower highs. Same with AMC, right? People who got kind of snake oiled in here or here or here or here or here, they continue to sell at lower highs and lower highs and lower highs, right? So I maybe watch that downtrend line, but it's one of those things that I wouldn't bet against it with stock. I may sell some call spreads on it because the volatility is insane. 200 was the last high. We'll see if they get there this time. But every time they run this game, it's a lower high. What I think's going on with these now, and I know some of this for a fact, is the hedge funds are not stupid, right? I wouldn't say they're overly smart, but they're not stupid. So the first time it spiked, a lot of them got smoked. They're not going to just sit there and get smoked, right? They can't. Like a lot of people, they just hide the blah, blah, blah. Hedge funds have multiple third-party organizations that look at their books, right? I worked at one for 10 years. They can't hide this shit. But they very quickly, and again, I know this for a fact, they very quickly learned. One hedge fund that I know, and again, I worked in hedge fund administration, which meant we did risk management and legal work and that kind of stuff for hedge funds. One of them I knew, the hedge fund manager, instantly found like a buddy of his nephew who was big on Reddit and he was on Wall Street Bet, hired him and said, I want you to tell me what these people are talking about. At the same time, they built NLP AIs, and NLP just stands for natural language processing, basically AIs that can read text. And then they would ride the wave, and that's why for a while you'd get they would talk about UWMC, I think, and you'd get these massive spikes because these hedge fund managers would pound in a bunch of shares, knowing that this was talked about a little bit, and the higher the stock goes, the more traction the posts get, the more money they can make, and so on and so forth. Then it got to the point where they would just post, like they would just actually get people who are in these communities and post, and then they have Twitter bots that constantly retweet AME, AMC, GME, blah blah blah, to the moon, stupid meme, blah blah blah. And they would buy a whole bunch of positions, right? They would pump them, and then these kids come in and they buy call options. Well, most call options, like 90% of them, expire worthless. So they would sell these kids these overpriced call options because they don't understand implied volatility and all this kind of stuff, pocketing not only the spread, but also kind of doing a covered call split off. Make that money, sell the stock, thing tanks, move on with your life, over and over and over again. So technically, it's, again, it's got a whole bunch overhead here before I'd be super interested in looking at it. And again, full disclosure, I owned some on that first move. So kind of right in here, I owned some. And then I was obviously selling out as it went up. And then as we crashed back down, I think I sold the rest of mine around like 150 or something. And I made good money on that trade. So again, I'm not anti anything. I'm a trader. And same thing with the AMC. AMC, what's funny? Someone told me that, nobody's selling AMC, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Let me show you who is selling AMC. Boom. And let's go. So this on the side here, TrendSpider has the ability to look at insider buys and sells. Let's look at the CFO. Oh no, the CFO is not. Oh, we're on the wrong stock. AMC. Let me just move this over a bit. There. So here is the CFO dumping AMC shares. Where's the CEO? Senior VP selling shares. Chief Marketing Officer just dumped $1 million worth of share. We already did the accounting officer, Adam, the CEO and director, 7 million share dump, 23 million share dump, 9 million share dump, right? It's a scam. Like all of these people are dumping the shares, right? So who's selling this stuff? Well, the people who have access to their books are selling these stocks. So AMC, same kind of technical analysis, way under all of this, right? It's got a huge area to go here. Tons and tons of resistance. What I will say, trade anything. Trade anything, have a plan, have a risk management. Understand anybody who is pumping these things to you, they're not your friend. Right? There are one of the reasons I get triggered on a lot of this is a lot of people's first foray into the markets, and they're getting screwed. And then there's you see these reports of suicides and life savings lost and all of this kind of stuff, and it's going to brew anger and hatred in it. But it's not that all of this is rigged. Obviously, the whole Robinhood stopping trading was complete and utter bullshit and should be investigated, and Vlad should probably be locked up, right? Again, 100% on board with all that. But the people who are hucking it at you now, they're not your friends, right? It's like, I have a meme. Where was it? I saved this one because I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Is it on this computer? No. Anyway, it's just a meme of the line going down, and everyone just going nothing to see here, and then it bounces a little bit, and everyone gets super pumped about it. So again, anyone who's just pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping, they've got some sort of agenda, right? They're trying to make friends, or they're trying to sell you something, or somebody who is your friend will say something like I did, trade whatever the hell you want, have a plan in place, a place that you're out. Don't just diamond hands YOLO all your shit, and hope to God that there's some big conspiracy that is going to go wrong. Because if there even is a conspiracy, and they're right, then you're still going to lose, right? And then what have you accomplished with your conspiracy theory, right? If you want to screw Citadel, I'll tell you how to do it. If you think the market makers are evil and Ken Griffin's a monster and you want to screw him, what you do is you don't trade very much, right? You come up with some sort of strategy that has you evaluating certain positions, maybe taking a couple trades a week, because he doesn't. A lot of people think that he's just betting against the meme stocks. He's not. Right? That's not how these guys make their money. Every time you trade, especially through a zero commission broker, he's just taking a couple cents off each trade. Right? He's making a spread, and then they instantly hedge themselves every time, because they're not in the business of guessing direction. They're in the business of, can I get these guys to trade? Can I get them to scalp a bit? Can I get them to, right? It's as old as time. Before that, it was your stockbroker that was trying to get you to trade for a commission. Now it's these market makers that are trying to get you to trade for payment for order flow. So, sorry, long rant, not directed at you. If I can save somebody from these shysters, then I'll be happy. It will let me sleep at night. This LiDAR is very, very interesting to me here. Let me tell you about this penny stock. It's about to pump. Same game, right? Same game. That's actually a really good. I know it was a joke, but it's a really good point, because the penny stock promoters do the same thing, right? They're the same. I'm going to buy a bunch of this penny stock, and then I'm going to create bots on Twitter that, the way to, if you see anyone tweeting about AMC and you click on their profile and they have as many following as followers or more following than followers, probably a bot and probably going to screw you, right? Even the ones that don't, right? They're probably like, hey, buy my course. It'll tell you how to diamond hands AMC forever. Anyone who's like, hey, here is like an objective, like risk management approach to trading is probably a good idea. But again, it's the same. This is why none of us like really market professionals are shocked by this, because the penny stock game was the same thing. It used to be like Yahoo message boards and like email threads, right? I'm going to accumulate this very illiquid junk ass stock. What was it? Sponge Tech. If anyone's been trading old enough to remember Sponge Tech, you'll remember this. But yeah, they come up with this story about how the stock's amazing and it's going to go to the moon, and it's just trading at like a fraction of a penny now because some evil corporation conglomerate, blah 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 blah, and they pitch this thing out there. Right now it's Twitter with bots, but before it was email threads and stock promoters and Yahoo message boards and that kind of thing. And then, of course, as everyone's piling into it, they're selling on the way out, right? Just as old as time. Like, read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, right? From the 40s, this stuff's been, news groups too. This stuff's been going on since the market existed. Like, it's just new because of a different tool. And not to say like the original GME kind of pump was this overshorted, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was all right. Like, deep fucking value. He was right. A lot of this stuff was right initially. But again, hedge funds, they are capitalism personified, right? They're like, okay, here's the game now. I'm going to play. And if you think that they're not playing, then, right, it's like, oh, we're hurting the hedgies. It's like, yeah, you did. You had your moment. Robinhood screwed it up. Go after them. But it's gone now. Too, like, schizo-focused, right? They've got, like, HMC, HYMC, and all these different... So it's just not gonna... It's like they had this moment. The documentary that... CNBC put out was actually, for MSNBC, was not bad. Kamikaze Cash. This guy's hilarious, by the way. He's like doing one challenge in which he's like, calls it the freeloader challenge, where he's trying to buy a house off of... Oh, did they make him take it down? Oh, that sucks. He was in it. I think they made him take it down. CNBC meme stock doc. No, sorry, can't find it. Is this it? No. Anyway, there was a documentary that MSNBC did that was actually pretty good. Explaining a lot of it, but just don't get, right? Same as anything in the world, right? Try to understand people's bias. Like, I do this, like, I get paid to do a lot of this stuff. I'm not going to hide any of that from you. I'm going to be fully upfront. And if you buy trade ideas that you're seeing me use now, I'll make some money. If you buy TrendSpider, I'll make some money. If you join Stats Edge Pro, I'll make some money. Down the road, I like doing this stuff, so down the road I might have something else to do stuff on. Again, it's just know what people are doing. So this LiDAR is interesting. So we had this earnings move right here, and then this pullback, and now we're kind of popping back up to it. I don't like that it's been 3 days in a row. Certainly not, but... So the whole market's kind of up 3 days in a row, so it may make it hard to find stuff. So we'll call it, 6. LIDR 6 and then 5. So when I talk about how I kind of pick bottoms, this is going to be like the most purest kind of example of it, where I let this massive kind of base occur. So this may be kind of accumulation going on in through here. I'm not going to be buying it when it's doing this, right? I'm either going to wait for a higher low, which I guess you could say was kind of right there, and that didn't materialize into anything. A higher low, right, could be right here. But really, I like these kind of big bases, rounded bottoms, just to show me that there is a whole bunch of support underneath. I need that to go, but IDR. Oh, shit. Well, there you go. So we tried this one once before. So let me just extend that out. Looks like that never triggered before. And again, if you have any names you want me to look at, let me know. LU looks interesting, but China, essentially. Monsters got a bunch overhead. Next is breaking out a bit. This was this crazy high flyer right in here. It's going to be a hard day, I know, to find stuff because we have two options. Either it's up 4 days in a row following the market, or it's underperforming the market. Right? So it's that creates a bit of a conundrum because I want something that's overperforming. So I actually like when the market pulls back better because I can just make a list of what's not pulling back and place trades off of that. I get these markets are the hardest for my style to add names to, simply because, again, if it's performing with the market, then it should have run 3 or 4 days, right? So if it's not, it's underperforming, and that I need to look at. Wow, looks interesting. MDY. Yeah, so this is just the mid cap index. So we talked with the small caps, we talked with the S&P, which is the large caps. Same kind of thing. It's bouncing into this range, right? They all look the same. They have this resistance that's overhead, right? If we can hold, we got to get over this before I'm interested. We've got a whole bunch of slop in this area. Then they kind of all look like that to me. Strong stock pulling back. This one's going to be kind of weird. Yeah, it's a lot of inverse ETFs, isn't it? Is it all inverse ETFs? Maybe. So these within Trade Ideas are a lot of my favorite scans now. They're completely pre-built scans. We got these ones that are interesting too. This is a MACD cross for a trend. So these will all be trend plays. So that's kind of interesting. A10. Pretty low floater. Software publisher. What do you do? This a lot is the power of Trade Ideas, right? It's just a lot of information in one place. A10 networks provides case. Yeah, I'll take a look at this one. Same kind of, right? If you look here, same kind of rounded bottom look. Anytime you see this yellow line, that was earnings. So we gapped up on earnings and we ran. And then we pulled back with the rest of the market, but we didn't actually get that deep. So now that we're potentially breaking this prior high, right, this could be kind of a cup and handle, and relative strength overall with the market. The market's been taking a shitter, and this one's been holding up pretty well. 8% short float. It's one of those things. So we're going to go ATN. So we're looking at this one too. So what's going to be like 1614? 1614. Big font size. Black. 8, 10, 16, 14. Question, you said you're a swing trader. Do you day trade too? I do day trade as well. I don't really talk much about it because it's just really hard because I am a pure kind of a little bit of an old school scalper, right? I trade in the morning. I will take, sometimes I'm in and I'm out half a position like a minute or two later, right? So it's really hard to kind of communicate what I'm doing. I will more in our Q&A sessions, I will more talk about, style and less about kind of what I'm doing moment to moment, because it'd be like, oh yeah, I'm short this dog. Okay, I'm out again, right? It's just, I'm very, very quick with it. Now, what I will say is I don't do nearly as much as I used to. It's one of those things, if I can pull in a few bucks each day, then I'm a happy camper. Most of my income from trading is swing trading. And it's just because I can get, so like Udemy is amazing, right? So I'm in Udemy from I think like 13, and it was up to 16 as of Friday. Just a massive push up. This is one of those that I'll probably sell a part of on Monday if we get a gap up or some type of a move, and then I could hold the rest of this with a stop really, really close for a long period of time. If we ever get up to $30, that's like many months of salary or whatever. It just uncaps the potential gain. And again, it's like a personality type more than anything, right? I think that there's some people that are better suited to day trading, some people that are better suited to swing trading. I think, Brett, you talked about this one, didn't you, on Friday? JOBY just popped up on this trade ideas scan. Dan, our CEO, actually had me build this one. It's a moving average crossover system that seems to test okay. It's like any moving average crossover system gets murdered in choppy markets, and in raging markets seems to do okay. And just triggered that one there. So whatever they said on earnings, the market liked, and it's kind of breaking out a bit here. It's got kind of that higher low look. So I like the look of it. Decent short float. What the hell do they do? Is that the flight taxi thing? Yeah, VTOLs, right? Yeah, flying taxi company. Finally, right? When did the Jetsons promise us that shit? You know what? I don't hate it. Went like 6.15 and then like 5. Six. JOB. Come on. Now where's like my robot maid? That was next. All I've got is this stinking robot vacuum cleaner. Six, 1, 5, 5. All right. Well, if anyone has anything else they're looking at, let me know. This is probably the last scan that I'll go through. I'll probably take another 10 minutes or so. I hate to be that guy, but if you can like the thing, that helps me out. Yeah, robot vacuum cleaners are not, they're not it. We've got like, kind of a bigger name one, I guess. It's got an iPhone app. It can like learn where you're dirty. It spends a lot of time in my office for obvious reasons. It's just not, I don't know. Sometimes it's just like, let me do it myself. Oh, that actually reminded me. Dow. I saw this on the Twitter box, and I really like the look of it. So if we zoom out a bit here, boring, but boring is what's been paying me for the last like 2.5 years. We got a pretty solid cup and handle look here. I think it was the Trend Spider Twitter feed I saw this on. Big kind of push up, right? Nice looking bear flag. If we can get above that, again, just strong because it's boring, right? People want boring right now. So that could be interesting. Nice looking cup and handle. So I am going to add that one. It's going to be like, I don't know what, 69.50. If I was Elon, it'd be 69.69, 66.50. And a little bit of a longer term look than I normally did, but it's just one of those. If I ever see someone post a chart and I go, oh, that's good, then it's something that I definitely just want to make sure I add to the list. It's like that, like they say, if you're doing a multiple choice test, you always go, if there's an answer that just slaps you in the face, that's the answer you go with. Same thing with charts. If I ever look at a chart and I go, oh, that looks good, then I take a few seconds trying to like disprove the hypothesis. And if I can't, then it's just something I'll add. Sometimes works out to be my best trades, ones you don't have to think too hard about. EOG on the weekly just looks a little overdone to me. Right? You've got a double here, almost in a straight line, and then just broke out from here. So you're clearing all-time highs, which is obviously a good thing, but like where you put your stop, like 100, it's 36% away. You show, geez. Let's take a look. So let's make that a daily. We don't have 65 minutes. I know why you're doing that. It's a Brian Shannon thing. It makes perfect sense. All right. Unity. Yeah, it looks okay. Gap fills are often resistance zones, right? So you're going to get into that. So you've got some room to get there, but I don't know. If your risk reward makes sense to get to 45, then that's something I would look at. But it's just something that I've noticed over time. So those gap fills can be a problem. I've adopted the 65-minute timer. Yeah, that's a Brian Shannonism, right? And he's right. If you do a 60-minute, then you're assigning the same weight to a 30-minute time frame in the beginning of the day that you are a 60-minute time frame later in the day. So it equally divides the candles. I get it. I don't know if it matters that much. Hey, looks like and you got that swing pivot low, 108. Maybe, that's 116, so that's a little bit more interesting. So again, you got to make sure your risk reward. This is my problem with bounces, right? Is that there's a lot. Show? I don't see a show. CRM, Salesforce. Yeah, see, this one looks a little bit different to me because like the next like clear area I can see just right by eye is this 185. Oh, snow. Okay. Yeah, so like this one I like the look of, probably the best of everything that I looked at so far because that's a clear area right here, but you've got some room. So if you're buying it with a stop under, but then you got earnings, right? If that's correct, I'd double check that. But right, that to me makes the most sense. So what I'm doing for people who are newer here is I'm just trying to eyeball this. And I'm saying, okay, that's a reasonable place for a stop. Now, where do I think it would get like it would get stuck. And for CRM, that's kind of way up here, the next like major resistance time frame. I forgot that I left that up there. So that's like a 4-to-1 risk reward. That's great. I want to see like well over 2. So snow. So gap down off earnings. So they hate it, whatever earnings said. Then I look at it and I say, okay, well, one way to do is just, we could, we could anchor a VWAP from that high right there. So you got some room up there. And then, your next kind of prominent swing high is this 151 area. Right? So again, just for the people who don't know, I love this drawing tool. So I can say, boom, that's where kind of an entry would make sense. And then the next kind of swing is right here. So that's nearly a 3 risk reward. So I like to look at that one too. Just the other ones I'm not a big fan of. Snow, what I liked CRM and Snow. I didn't like the rest of them. Again, I'm not a fundamental guy at all, but as a nerd, Unity seems like it's a stock that makes sense to me. Again, I'm not a valuation guy, so I don't know, maybe it was overvalued here. But like, again, as a nerd, because they make the thing that people make the video games off of. And that's important for nerds like me. OLN breakout. OLN. Yeah. That's oil too, isn't it, right? See, this is what TrendSpot is really missing, is this other basic chemical. Okay, so that would be... So if that moves, then my Dow synopsis makes sense. So that will move with Dow. But it's a good look. Right? Again, I just don't like everything's up 3 days in a row. This is something that I personally think I need to get over a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. All right, guys, I am going to pack it in. For the Stats Edge Pro members, I'm now going to take all this. I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to pop it into the blog post. We didn't get much on the list, but we got a little bit. Enough names for me anyway, considering that I think we're probably due for some sort of a slight correction or pullback, or at least a few rest days. For people who don't know, it's obviously a shortened week because the markets weren't open today. So let's just do this to this, and then we'll apply. Often open... these weeks are kind of boring. Scrolling through. So again, this is Forex Factory. I'm not affiliated with them. I go here like every day though. So Wednesday, we've got ISM. So basically, I'm just looking for anything that's like dark orange or red. They basically rank how important they believe the news is, and then I look at it with my own eyes. PMI, right, is all inflationary related, so that might be interesting. And then no one really cares what jobs right now. And no one really cares what jobs right now. So there's not a lot economically going on. And there's not a lot, it's one of those things that if people are going to take a long weekend or a week off, they're probably going to do it now. So, if I had to bet, gun to my head right now, it's going to be a choppy, kind of boring weeks, right? Are you watching the Walter Deemer thread about 80% up weeks, back-to-back days? Yeah, are you on that with, are you in that little, like, John Boilinger club? I'm in there. Or are you talking about something different? I feel like I'm outclassed with those guys. So I've just been, like, lurking. It's interesting. Again, I don't know how much weight I put on that stuff, but it's certainly interesting. Certainly something I will keep an eye out for. I think we have to put a pretty big weight on the fact that there's no economic numbers and that it's a shortened week, right? I don't see enough people, in my opinion, talking about that. Where it's like, okay, if it's going to be a boring week and we're kind of a bit overdone, and back to this chart that I'm this chart here, it's like I just don't expect a lot to happen from the long side this week. I could be 100% wrong. I'll trade my plan regardless. But just looking at this, I'm not like super excited to pile into stuff. If we pull back this week and then next week it looks like that ends up being a higher low, that's when I'm going to probably punch in a little higher. Or say we reclaim 420 this week, and then we kind of chop around for a bit. That's another place that I think that we could punch it. But I wasn't getting too emotional on the way down. I'm not going to get too emotional on the way back up. It's like I'm glad that I'm in a bunch of positions like Udemy and stuff like this that are paying very well. I'm just not like super keen to like, really load up on a bunch of other stuff until something happens here to the market. But, if it's part of my plan, I'll trade it. So, all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hit the like button, tell your grandma, all that kind of stuff. Video on Wednesday. If we can get Charlie to sleep for more than 2 minutes, more videos throughout the week, and trade safe out there.